welcome once again to our online teachings. Today is special because the grandmothers have asked us specifically to do some very important work because of the times we're living in and because of all the imbalance of nature that we're experiencing, both human nature, of course, and nature, the world that we live in. And this is an unprecedented period of time in that we are loaded with imbalance, fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, typhoons, extraordinarily high heat, high temperatures, flooding, you name it. We have it, with more of it lined up, ready to come in on us. This is all a symptom of the great and grave imbalance on Earth now. And so because we're humans, we have a particular job that we can do that has to be done by humans. And that's what we're going to talk about today and what we're going to do today. But before we start that, in order to amplify the work we're doing, we always work with the net of light. And recently, we've also begun to read the Ancestral Declaration. And that adds more power to what we do so that all the good we do together can go farther, deeper, wider. Before we start, I want to really thank all of you who are with us to do this work. Many of you are here right now on this Sunday, and some of you will be coming in over the days to come, picking it up on our YouTube connection or picking it up from our website, netoflight.org or grandmotherspeak.com. There is no time limit, so you can do this work that we're going to do today anytime, and it will do great good. Now, I'd like to introduce one of our beacons in Europe, Gabriela Santos, who's going to read the Ancestral Declaration. Gabriela is from Portugal, but right now she's living in Italy. I'll let her tell you where. And she's also doing a lot of translation work for us. She's translating the grandmother's messages into Portuguese as well as into Italian. And we are eternally grateful. So Gabriela, would you take it over?
Can you hear me?
Mute yourself. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Oh. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks to all of you. I am Portuguese, but I've been living in Italy, in the Bergamo area, not far away from Milan, 50 kilometers from Milan, for the past 7 years and a half. And yeah, it's been interesting, intense. So I'll read to you the Ancestral Declaration now. Yeah. I call upon the net of light and affirm my union with the divine. I honor my loving connection with those living today, those who lived in other times, and those yet to be born. Love is not limited by the calendar or by the clock. Each of us is an eternal being, part of the one love. Recalling this truth now, I bow my head in gratitude, saluting the love within my higher consciousness and within the higher consciousness of everyone else. I invite the ancestors of my family line and the ancestors of the land where I live to join me in this blessing work. I welcome all who love and serve the light to connect now within the net of light. As we gather together, I ask forgiveness for my past ignorance and small-mindedness. I no longer wish to judge and criticize others, nor do I wish to judge and criticize myself. I also gladly forgive anyone who ever judged or criticized me. I am able to do this with ease each time I remember that it is the breath of the one love that breathes through me, and the beat of the one heart that pumps life through me. My immortal self exists outside the limitations of action and beyond the circumstances of time and place. So as I turn to this presence within me, all pain from the past, as well as any fear of the future, falls away. All is forgiven. With my heart open wide, I offer blessings to all beings everywhere. And as we joyously embrace one another, together we sing. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy.
Thank you, Gabby. Thank you so much. That is our prayer. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. No limits ever. Thank you for that. And now I'd like to introduce Wilhelmina Ashenhurst, who lives in Australia. And I've probably known you, Will, for 10 years or so. You've been a very faithful beacon in Australia, working with Christine and Carolyn for the Australian grandmother's family. Anyway, if you would you please lead us in the Net of Light meditation? Those of you who have tuned into several of these will note that every time someone does the Net of Light meditation, almost every time they do it right from their hearts. A few people, when they're first beginning, will read it, and that's good too, but you can't do it wrong. So we're really happy for that we get these people to volunteer and share it with you. So Will, if you'll share with us now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And I have chosen to read the one from Casting the Net because I think that is beautiful and I couldn't improve on it. So I will read it now. One morning, the grandmothers woke me early in the morning. Pay careful attention now, they said, and send this message out. Yes, grandmothers, I said, awake and ready to write. Think of, cast, and magnify the power of the net of light. If you wish to be of service at this time, there is no greater act you can perform. The net of light reaches over, under, and throughout the earth. It covers and penetrates all bodies of water, land masses, and being on the planet. It holds the world. It will hold the world steady while the energies on your planet shift. It will hold the earth steady while what is no longer useful cracks off and dissolves. These are the times of change we have spoken of. These times are here now, and you have a part to play in them. Don't miss this opportunity. All over the earth, your sisters and brothers stand with you. Many now are working with the net of light. And because of the love in their hearts, they are able to magnify its power and reach. Join them, they cried. Begin by thinking of the net of light as a great fishing net, and then walk forward and you take your place on it. Somewhere where two of its strands come together is a place that will feel right to you. Sit down there and let the net hold you. It will support you and fill you with well-being. Here you can truly rest, so relax in the net. And as you do, experience that it's your own heart that is lighting the net of light. No matter what pain you may have experienced in life, your heart is still pure. At its core, it's love, it's light. And so it's the jewel of the heart that lights the net. Let light flow forth from your heart now into the net of light. And here is the miracle. The moment you think of sending light from your heart into the net of light, a great surge of light from the net floods back into your heart. The moment of giving and the moment of receiving are the same moment. Each time you think of, then cast and magnify the power of the net of light, you receive more. This is how the divine works. There is no shortage in the divine plan, they said, casting the light that looks at me. All is expansion, fullness, and fulfillment. As you think of and hold the net of light, you'll notice that it reaches everywhere, especially wherever there's suffering. You automatically magnify the power of the net of light each time you think of it. So think of it and hold it steady. Hold, 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 they said. Amplify the power of the net of light for all those who need this divine connection. Do it for the human family. Do it for people everywhere. Amplify the power of the net of light for the leaders of this world, reminding them of their place in the radiant net. Hold the net of light steady for everyone who is seeking the divine, they said. We promise that the net of light will draw each one to her and his perfect pathway to divinity, the pathway most fitting for them. Amplify the power of the net of light for the animal kingdom, they said, asking that each animal receive whatever it most needs. Do the same for the plant kingdom and for the mineral kingdom. Cast and magnify the power of the net of light for everything that lives. Ask that everyone in all the worlds be happy, they smiled, adding, and this of course includes you. Take your place on the net of light now, they directed me. Don't delay. As you do this, you will not only bless the earth, you yourself will be filled with radiance. The time is now, the grandmother said, giving me a fierce look. Take your glorious place. I send out their message.
That was really lovely, Will. Thank you so much. It's been a long time since I've read that, just like that. I was so happy to hear it again. Thank you. And this is why we come together with these online teachings. We come together to work with the net of light because we can. As human beings, for whatever divine reason, I don't know, the grandmothers have always said, we are like the electrical outlet in the walls of your homes. We are that. And because we are, energy plugs into us and we can connect others to that energy source. Right now, we're living in a time of great disconnect and a sense of separation, a lot of fear, a tremendous amount of fear, a lot of anger, and unhappiness. And so we are really being stretched a good deal to stand steady in these very harsh and difficult times. This week, I sent out one message from the grandmothers, and that's what I thought we were going to talk about today. And it was a beautiful message and very rich, but I'm just going to barely touch on it because we need to do the work they've asked us to do in their SOS, and that we will do. But these two messages, the one about working with the elements of the earth, and also the message they gave me first about the movement now all over the earth from the head to the heart, is also really important. All that we're able to do together, we're able to do because of this movement, out of the brain-mind consciousness into the wisdom of the heart. This is a place most of us have not lived in, or have not lived in for very long. We were taught not to live there. Don't trust your feelings. Don't be so emotional. Be rational. What is the plan? And those things are necessary, but wisdom, not knowledge, wisdom comes from the heart. And all the research now with heart math and other related studies show us the efficacy and the number one presence of the wisdom of the heart. And the grandmothers are saying at this point, ask your heart to take over the job of educating you so that you become truly educated as a wise being, not just a little compartmentalized knowledge maven, but a wise whole being who relates to everything and understands everything. That's a big order, but we can get there. So right now, at this time we're living in, this is the return of the energy of yin. This is the return of the feminine principle. This is the time when it's been foretold in all the ancient cultures that God the Mother would return to earth. All of that is true. And within us, as our hearts really come fully alive, as our hearts light fire and come fully alive, this change takes place. This is all in sync. The mother returns and she affects our hearts, and our hearts welcome her and she returns in us. Wisdom begins to live in us. Now, to switch to what they asked us to do today. They said we need to work specifically with the 4 basic elements of life on earth: air, earth, fire, water. We also will work with space, but we won't be focusing on space today. These 4 elements, as you see in the news every day, are way out of balance. And so we're all suffering. Right now, I'm in Northern California. We are surrounded by fires. I can't go outside because of the smoke. Several months ago, it was Christine and Will down in Australia who couldn't go outside because of the smoke. There are great heat waves all over the planet. I read the other day that it was 135 at degrees Fahrenheit at Death Valley and also in Iraq. Never heard of these sorts of temperatures. Europe was sweltering. I don't know if you're still sweltering, but you were. Flooding all over the place. And now I got a SOS this morning, please send help, from a woman on the Gulf Coast of Texas, because the hurricanes are stacked up out there, ready to come in. It's constant. In the wintertime, we get those, I forget what they call them. They're like enormous ice storms. They even have a bigger name for them than that because they are so horrendous. These are the times that we've been told about. And our beloved Earth, our beloved planet is suffering. All life on Earth, animals, humans, everyone is suffering. We are suffering. We also have the COVID pandemic lying on us. So these times are not for the weak-hearted. Now, the grandmothers have said that many times they've said this: whatever humanity has caused, whatever grief, whatever imbalance humanity has caused, humanity must rectify. There's not going to be any deus machina dropping down from the ceiling to save us, from the stuff we've done. We have to do the work. So luckily, when they first came, they began to teach us about the net of light. And over the years, our understanding has grown and grown. So now we have a much greater understanding of what this net of light is. The net of light, forgive me for repeating myself, but I will because I have to. The net of light is the largest living construct in the cosmos, not just on Earth, but in the entire cosmos. Science named it, discovered it about 2014, and they refer to it, if you want to go Google it, Google cosmic web. That's what they call it, the largest living construct in the universe, which connects everything throughout time and space. So with the reach of this net of light or cosmic web, there is no limit at all. So when we work with the net of light, we're working today, right now, August 23rd, 2020. I think in Australia, it's already August 24th, but you get the idea. We're working now, but at the same time, there is, at this level of life, there is no past and there is no future. It's all now. So when we work together and we're working for healing, we're working for our own healing. Of course we are. Working for the healing of all those on earth now who are suffering. We're also working beyond time and space. So we're working with what we usually think of as the past. And we're working with what we usually think of as the future. It's all here now in the one, held in the one love in this now moment. Okay. In this now moment, there's great upheaval on our planet. The elements, the four basic elements I talked to you about, are out of balance. Fire is raging. Fire is precious to us. Without the heat and light of the sun, we would all die. Without the warmth that's generated in our bodies, we would die. We use fire to cook our foods, to warm ourselves, to purify things. We use it for so much, but it is out of balance right now. It's raging everywhere, or not everywhere, it's raging a lot of places. Water, precious water, the water of life that flows through our body, that drops from our eyes when we cry. Water is precious, and water also has been out of balance. These hurricanes coming in as they are, along with air. The air, right now I can't go outside, I cannot breathe the air. It's like poisonous. It's all the particulates in it will make you really sick. Certain people, it's life-threatening for them. The winds that drive those hurricanes create great destruction. The winds that drive the tornadoes create great destruction. The air is not wrong, but it is out of balance. And then the last one is earth. And our beloved earth, which suffers so much from all the things that we've done, most recently probably is the fracking. But the earthquakes, the volcanic upheavals, landslides, all the things of the disturbances of the earth are also being affected by our imbalance. So what mankind has created, mankind has to address. We have the radiant net of light, which underpins every bit of life on earth and fills every bit of life. I'm looking at you now, you can see me. I am permeated with the net of light, every blood vessel, every lymph node, everything, and so are you. We are held at all times in light. This painting behind me is permeated in light. The air around me is permeated by the net of light. There is nowhere that the net of light is not. we can connect with one another instantaneously just by thinking of the net of light. And as we think the thought, our energy follows the thought and it goes. If I think of sending love to Gabriella, it's done. It happens like that. If I think of sending love to the Gulf Coast, to Texas, to Alabama, Louisiana, it goes immediately. If I think of sending it to the firefighters on the front line, it goes immediately. And we've been working that way. Most of you have been working that way for quite a while. What the grandmothers are asking us to do now is to begin to open our hearts still further to the possibility and the joy of connecting with the element of earth, with being at home, with a sense of oneness with the earth. We've been so taught by our education system to view ourselves as separate from everything that's out there, to examine it, to evaluate it, to consider it as a resource for us to manipulate and use, all about this separation. It's nonsense. This body is earth and water. Yours is earth and water. We are so akin to our beloved mother that it's a joke to think of ourselves as separate and to treat her as separate. And so our bad behavior toward the natural world stems from this sense of being separate. I can, do whatever I want because that's out there and here I am. It's not true. Everything is imbued with the net of light. Everything is part of the great weaving. So the grandmothers are asking us now to incorporate the elements of fire, of earth, of water, and of air into this weaving with great respect for each one, with great love for each one, with kinship flowing back and forth from us to them, from them to us. And what I understand about this is nature has been seeking converse with us, communion with us for a long, long time. They've been laying themselves open to us, but we've been so locked up in the brain here, putting it in the right box, that we haven't been able to get outside our narrow mind just to really see and feel what's there. But we are progressing. Our hearts are opening. I think most of you have probably noticed this, the changes in yourself. The old reified attitudes that you once upon a time had about black and white, this is right, this is wrong, this is up, this is down, all those things are kind of softening now as you see, oh, there's more to it than that. There's more to it than I ever thought. And you get bigger, you become expansive, and you become more. So this is part of that journey into becoming more. We are claiming our oneness with these elements that create all life here on earth. We are part of that, and we're part of that creation. And a lot of the things that come through our wisdom is about creation. New ideas, new attitudes, new thoughts, all of that is coming from the heart. So I want to say there are many, many beings now who are involved in this kind of work, and they are doing great good. Many beings are working with nature in a variety of ways. And I honor and I'm grateful for every single one of them. And at the same time, each of us has to find her or his connection with the natural world. And the natural world is ready to embrace each of us. we have been longed for. You know how good it feels to you when you really connect with someone, when you just feel that, oh, we're on the same wavelength, and there's like a deep friendship, a love blooms between you. All life loves that. The animal kingdom loves that. The plant kingdom waits to be appreciated and loved. The mineral kingdom wants to be appreciated and loved. And the elements of our beloved earth also want to be appreciated and loved, and seen not as things, but seen as part of that one love, the flow, the great weave of life here on earth. So we will, each of us, we will find our way. And what the grandmothers have said is, because we have the ability to work with the net of light, and many of us have been doing it for quite a while, it's going to be relatively easy for us to connect with each of these blessed elements that's creating life here on earth, and to connect each with the net of light and with ourselves. It's sort of like we're going to be having a family reunion now. Everybody's coming home, and we'll begin to relate with everybody else. That's the beginning, because when there is a sense of home and place and enfoldment and being loved, there is a sense of balance and harmony. And so we are going to go in and we're going to ask for forgiveness from these elements for our ignorance, basically. We didn't start out thinking, I'm going to get those suckers, I'm going to, push them down, I'm going to take over. It wasn't like that. It was just ignorance. But as we move more and more into our hearts, and we understand that we're all, it's not just words, we are part of the one love. And so is everything else, everything that lives. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to call on the net of light. We're going to go in. The grandmothers will direct the whole thing. And we'll see what happens. Okay, so just think of giving yourself, let's see, how are we doing? Oh, we'll probably take 10 minutes, maybe 15. I don't know how long it will be. It won't be long. So let the chair support you now, and the floor. And if you're lying down, the cushions or the bed. Let yourself just be. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to figure out. We are truly being stretched in the most glorious way. We're on this ride of becoming more and more. Each time the grandmothers move in, they see what we need and they see what we're capable of, and they guide us. So as much as you want to, inside yourself, just say yes. Might be a little tentative yes, or it might be a full-throated yes, or anything in between. Just be where you are. We're here to learn. And we're so fortunate in that there is so much to learn. And it's so enriching as we expand like this. And so, grandmothers, we're coming to you because our earth is suffering terribly. And so many beings, humans, animals, plants, all elemental spirits, all beings are suffering now. And we want to do what we can to help. And you gave us the radiant net of light, and we've worked with it now. Some of us for over 20 years, some for only a short time, but we recognize the purity of it and the great power of it. So we magnify the net of light now within ourselves, within the area where we are, and throughout the planet and throughout the cosmos. We experience our union with one another on this day, our union with all the great beings of light, the great teachers, avatars, saints, sages, who give their lives in service, working with us now. We experience our union with all the sacred and holy places on our beloved planet. We experience our union with the ancestors of the light, those who've lived at other times and just like we wish to be of service now. We experience our union with the elemental spirits here on earth, the great loving caretakers of nature, many of whom have longed to have contact with us, just as we long for contact with them. And now we open ourselves to love and understanding with these elements of life here on earth that we call air and fire and earth and water. And we admit our ignorance and express how much we really do want to help. And we ask forgiveness for our ignorance and for any bad behavior, bad thoughts that we've had, ignorant thoughts that we've had about air and earth and fire and water. Sometimes being angry for too much of one of them. Again, we ask forgiveness because it's been lack of understanding. And so we ask for greater understanding. And so first we ask for Earth, who is our beloved Mother Earth here on this planet. And we ask that we have more understanding of her beloved presence with us at all times. And we give thanks, Earth, to you for all the feeding you do of us and how forgiving you've been with us for all the times we've polluted you and taken you for granted and taken all your so-called resources for ourselves. We have a lot to learn and we want to learn. But most of all, we want to love you and allow ourselves to be loved in return. So experience now that there is a two-way flow of love and gratitude from you to Earth, from Earth to you. And it's a continuing flow because this is the way it's supposed to be. This oneness of understanding and appreciation. And now we open to the element of air, which surrounds us at all times and fills our lungs. Blows away the smoke, brings the rain, helps bring the rain, purifies our atmosphere, and so many more things. And we give thanks for you, air. And we ask to be taught, wisely taught, about who you really are and our right relationship with you. that we never lose our gratitude for each breath you give us. That as you come in, we can sing. And as you come into us, we can speak. We can sigh. We are grateful, grateful. And we ask that in any way that we can, that we be there to communicate with you and also to help in any way to communicate between you and the other elements. Right now, Earth. So if there's any way that we need to be present and help that communication, we're ready for that. And now we ask for the element of fire to come in. We have so misunderstood you, fire. And our Western culture has been so taken up with you, with your quickness, with your heat, with your light and flash of light. We've been mesmerized by all that quick movement. And we've forgotten what a life giver you are. How much we rely on the steady warmth of you from our sun. For all that grows on earth, for all that lives. What a great blessing you are. And what a purifier you are. And we ask to have greater understanding of your blessing so that we never, ever again take you for granted. And we ask you to warm our hearts and open our hearts so that we live with the light fire of your blessing within us. Thank you. Thank you. And again, we ask that if we can be a conduit between air and earth and fire, so that there's sweeter communion, sweeter communication between these elements, that we want to do that, to serve and bless with each of you and with all of you together. And lastly, we call on the element of water. Water that brings rain, that brings moisture and growth to the plant, to the animal, to the human kingdom, that purifies, clarifies, soaks deep into the earth, bathes us. So much good. And we give thanks for you. And we ask for greater understanding of your blessing nature, and of our place in it, so that we are ever grateful and never misunderstand. We really ask from all four elements for this greater understanding. And that we be this happy conduit, the plug in the wall for all the elements to relate with one another, with us, with the human family, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, with all the elemental beings with everything that lives, always, at all times, forevermore. We speak our gratitude to you, beloved elements of life. Thank you for giving us life. Help guide us so that we serve life, that we help in this time of need. It is our greatest desire. Thank you for coming. Thank you for this opportunity. And grandmothers, thank you for calling us to step up right now at this time. Notice how you feel, how your body feels. There's a tremendous holding power that you have. You may be aware of it right now. You are holding. All is good. Everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. Oh, peace, peace, peace. So as you see, it's a simple adding the elements to the work we do each day, to the work we do many times a day, the blessing work of the net of light. Each time we think of magnifying the power of that radiant net, we include now the elements of life. And so when you see or hear a broadcast of a hurricane, automatically we think of this great love that we have for the elements, that the elements have for us. It's like calling yourself home, away from all the fear and drama. It's also calling the elements home, away from all the fear and drama, to the real relationship within the weave of life, of the net of light, the weave of light, of the fabric of being. We're part of that weave. And thank you, grandmothers, for taking us further yet, enlarging us further yet, so that we can love more and we can be loved more. In that great love, in that one love. We'll meet again in 2 weeks. You can always pick these teachings up at netoflight.org or grandmotherspeak.com. You can pick them up on YouTube. Just go to YouTube. You can Google Net of Light or Sharon Mackerlane online teachings, and you'll get these. We never know. I never know what is next. I didn't know this was going to come yesterday and change everything around, but that's how it is with the grandmothers. We're on the ride with them, and we go where they guide us. Thank you to every one of you. Bless you, bless you. I love you.